NJCAA National Tournament. Play-in game between Howard Community College and Harford Community College. The winner advances to the Final Four. The loser's season ends today. Two-time defending Region 20 champion Howard enters with a 14-game winning streak against Region 20 schools over the last 2 seasons. The Dragons have won each of their last 7 games against Harford, including last week's Region 20 final. Harford received the national tournament's lone at-large bid. Fighting Owls, looking to make the most of their first national tournament appearance since 2013. First quarter, Howard's man-up offense gets going. Jesse Ekstrom, Ian Decker, places it high and gives Howard a 2-goal lead. Decker finished with 1 goal in last week's championship game against Harford, produces 2 goals in the first 5 minutes of this national tournament game. The sophomore attackman leads the NJCAA with 90 points. Howard holds a 3-goal lead, thanks in part to its ability to win 5 of 7 first-quarter faceoffs. Travis Harrison and Jared Thompson combined to win it for the Dragons. Braden Martin, tremendous pass, hits Austin Norton in his stick, high-to-low finish. Impressive assisted goal. Time winding down in the first quarter. Harford moving the ball well. Fighting Owls respond with 2 unanswered. A much better start for Harford today compared to last week's Region 20 championship game. Norton, Ekstrom up against the short stick D Mitty. Ekstrom goes by him, connects with Martin with the bouncer. Howard is 2 men up. Ekstrom, Decker, to Will Smith right on the crease for his 55th tally of the season. The 3rd highest goal total in the NJCAA. Time winding down on a Harford penalty. Decker behind the goal. Sends a pass up top for Norton. High-to-low shot. Dragons offense moving the ball nicely and changing levels with their shots. 5-goal lead for Howard. Braden Martin dodging. Overhand shot. Scores. 2-goal day for Martin. He scored 4 postseason goals. Smith gets above GLE. 5 unanswered goals for the Dragons. Howard's man-up unit back on the field. Decker forces the issue through the 5-hole. All Howard at the moment. Dragons defense shut out Harford in the second quarter. TJ Ellis with the save. 6 first-half saves for Ellis. Third quarter, Harford's man-up offense goes to work. Ellis! Tough save. Shane Trout is flagged for the slash. 2 flags on the play. Howard down 2 men. Dragons are hit with another penalty. Long possession for Harford. Eli Doyle executes. Fighting Owls back within 6. Dragons answer right back. Dayton Fisher gets the goal. Howard reclaims momentum. Harford in transition. 27 in white Matt Leone lands the check. Jake McKenzie scoops up the ground ball, pushes it the other way. Goes to Smith, feeds Chris Reinhardt. Howard responds with a 2-goal flurry to regain control. Howard beginning to have some success in transition. Ellis with the save. Moves it to Alex Stefanos. Ahead to Fisher. And he's feeling it today. 2 goals, 6 ground balls, and 3 calls turnovers on the day for the defenseman out of Howard High School. 6 minutes remaining in the game. Will Smith on the run. Takes it to the hoop and finishes high. Howard is moving on to the Final Four. 16-9 is your final. Dragons will play Onondaga in the semifinal and a rematch of last year's national championship. TJ, you're going to the Final Four. How are you feeling right now?
Feel good. I think we played a really good game up until the end there when we let in a couple silly goals. But other than that, we feel good. We feel confident, and we're ready to go.
Take us inside how you're seeing the ball right now. Do you feel any differently out there? Because the results you're doing a great job.
I don't think I feel any more different than I have all season, but I think that in the last game against Hartford, as a team and as a defensive unit, we definitely kind of clicked, and they're giving me the shots that I'm going to be able to save all day long. So it's nothing new. It's just our defense is playing much better, and I guess that makes me play better too.
So take us inside how the team is feeling right now about its chances going to play a rematch of last year's national championship in the semifinal. How are you feeling right now?
We feel good. I think that we're confident, we're ready to play, and I think that we even might be going in there as some sort of an underdog, so we're going to be able to use that and have a chip on our shoulder. So I think we're ready to go, we're confident, and we're ready to win this game.
Coach Faust was telling us that one of the reasons why he thought you all had such a big game in the region championship against Hartford was you guys were excited. Is that an important part for you guys to get excited, do you feel like?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the past two games we've definitely been more up and ready to play these games, and I think that the scoreboard has shown that.
So what do you think the team needs to do between now and between when you leave heading up to Syracuse? What needs to be done between now and then to give yourself the best chance to win?
I think that we just need to keep practicing like we have been practicing these last few weeks. We've been up and excited in practice just like we have been in the games. We just got to treat practice like a game because we're getting ready to play a really, really good team. So we need to just work hard all week and be focused and ready to go.
You mentioned the underdog aspect of it. I mean, Onondaga, you just have to give them their props. Just decades of just dominance with Coach Wilbur's team. Just that whole, take us inside the whole underdog mentality of the team. What's it like in that locker room for you all?
Well, I think that Onondaga is definitely good. They're a good team. They beat us last year, so I think we're going to go in there with a big chip on our shoulder, trying to take the rematch and hopefully advance to the national championship game.
Will, it's the third time in Howard's history going back to the Final Four. Big accomplishment for the team. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty pumped up. I think the rest of the guys are feeling good too. Really ready to get after it and get back to the Final Four and try to do what we did last year, but come back with the trophy.
So you were there last year as a red shirt. What do you remember from that day against Onondaga, national championship, being a bystander? You couldn't play, but you were there.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the tougher times for me to stand there and just have to watch it play out how it was. But it was a surreal experience, and it's probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life. So I can't wait to get back there and feel that again.
For people who haven't seen it, just take us inside the whole battle and just how what do you remember most from that day?
It was just a real hard-fought battle, and it really just came down to who did the fundamentals right and who just held onto the ball, didn't turn it over, and just did all the little things the right way.
So what has that result meant to this season for you and your preparation? Is this something that you're going to have a chance to play Onondaga in the Final Four this year? Is that something that you've had in the back of your mind?
Since we lost that game last year, I came out the day after we got back and I was shooting, and I shot all summer long. I've been waiting for this moment since I've been on this team and was ready to put this jersey on. I just can't wait to get back out there.
So I believe you had 3 goals today in a big national playoff game for Howard. We talked to you after the Nassau game, and you said you just want to come here and produce for Coach Faust. How do you feel about the way you've produced so far?
I think I did a pretty good job. I can clean some stuff up. Probably Coach Faust would tell you that I could do a few things his way, but I feel like I'm getting it done, and I got Ian on my side, and I got Chris on the attack, and defense has our back the whole time, and we have their back. No one else I'd rather have in goal than TJ Ellis.
TJ had a bunch of great saves today, that's for sure. Just did that inspire you at all?
Oh, every single save he makes just pumps me up. I'm standing at the midfield line just screaming his name like, let's go 5. Like, you made that save, now we're going to get one on this end. It's all because of you.
All right, Will. So just it seems like the last couple games, Howard, didn't have a lot of luck against Nassau and Genesee, the Genesee game in particular, and that was kind of like a low point in the season. Like looking back on that, what do you think that day, that low point against Genesee, what did that do for you and your teammates?
It was a terrible day. We didn't want to lose that game. We traveled all the way up there and just got the snot beaten out of us. But it was a real eye opener for this team to see that we can play, but we're gonna have to really, really play the best game that we can when we go upstate and play New York teams.
So just the way the attack has played all year, Chris Reinhardt, Ian Decker, and yourself, where's the chemistry right now with you and those 2 players you play with?
I feel like I could turn around and not even looking. I know exactly where they are, and I could throw them the ball, and they'd catch it and put it in the back of the net. And I hope that's the same for me.
One thing about Onondaga, everybody knows they like to run, and they're just a very skilled team, great stick skills. How do you feel about the way your team's running right now and playing that sort of style?
I'm liking it. I would like to slow it down a little bit, play our game a little bit more, and not get into a run and gun battle when we go up there. But I know that we can run with them. If we get into it, we can fight our way out. I mean, we've been in fist fights all year, and we're ready for one now.
One thing that seems to be an ongoing problem with Howard, it's not all Howard's fault, of course, but just it seems like calls, like your team suffers a lot of penalties. And I know we asked you this question before, but just, with this being the last weekend coming up here, what do you think is the key to just the team giving yourself the best chance to win in terms of staying out of the box?
We just got to keep playing our game, that aggressive game where we get on our hands. And yeah, some games the calls will go your way and then they won't some games. So we just got to fight through that and just play our game, just make sure that we're doing what we can do to put ourselves in the best position to win.
So the way I look at Onondaga is they're just like a championship fighter. You're not going to, win a decision, I don't feel like, against Onondaga. You're going to have to go in there and, win convincingly to give yourself a chance. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah. It's going to have to be like a Rocky knockout. We're going to have to go in there and hit somebody right in the mouth to get that game over with.
Coach, back-to-back Final 4 years you were assistant last year, assistant this year. You've really been a huge part of turning Howard around here. How are you feeling right now?
Feeling great. Today was another test for us. We played them obviously in the championship game, and we just kind of came in today with the same game plan, and just to play our game, and good things will happen if we do, and that's what we did, and on to the Final Four. So
with the defense today, TJ Ellis had another big day. Who else in your mind stood out that you'd like to give a shout out to on defense?
I'd like to give the whole defense. Our D middies in all of our long sticks, our long stick middies, everybody played really, really well. I thought, it's really good to have Dayton and Grady and even Shane. Those guys they're so versatile. They can hold on to the ball. They can run up and down the field. And there's not a lot of teams that you play where we trust they trust them that much to go up and handle the ball on the offensive side. So that's huge in our clearing game and Dayton had 2 goals today. That's good for him, and so did Jared. Jared had a goal, so it's really huge for us to have that as a fallback for clearing, is to have them run up and down the field. So, yeah.
So is there anything after these 2 games against Hartford that stands out in your mind that you really need to work on between now and Saturday, or are you pretty happy with the way things are?
I think we can always, we're nowhere near where our potential is still, and I think we still can work on our on-ball defense. We kind of gave up. Third quarter wasn't the best quarter for us today, and we gave up some goals, and we kind of let up. And I just think if we don't let up, and we just don't let up and just keep doing our thing and not let silly goals like that go in. So we let up sometimes, and I think that's just our big thing, is just all 6 guys that are out there on the defensive side, including TJ, our goalie, ready to go at every time. Especially against Onondaga is going to be they're very good with the ball, and if we're lazy off ball, then they're gonna pick us apart. So we just need to be firing on all cylinders and ready to go.
So you basically have a completely new defense, if I'm not mistaken, this year. What was the key to getting this defense back to the Final Four with the whole close defense, new players?
The biggest thing was just them buying into each other, and Matt Leone is one of, and Parker Lindsay are really the only 2 long sticks that we have back, and it's helpful to have Alex Stefanos and Colin Wallace back this year as well, just to buy into each other. And we had a couple of rough games where you can tell that we were all new together and we didn't really feel each other out as well. And now I think we're really starting to click, and you can just see the way we play. We're starting to trust each other and know what to do and what we're doing, and everybody's kind of bought into each other and what we're doing. So that's the biggest part, I think.
So, Coach, just what's different, do you think, that you'd be able to, relay to your players who weren't on the team last year? What's different when you get to the Final Four and playing these games, win or go home?
Just the atmosphere, the emotions, everything's running pretty high, and especially once we go up there, it's a different style of play that, as we can tell when we went up to play Genesee, we just got to be ready for a fast-paced, aggressive type of play, and it's a bigger stage, and it's the Final Four, and it's NJCAA TV is playing it on their website, and they have announcers and everything, and it's just a different feel when you go into a game like that in Onondaga Stadium against we're playing them this year. So it's just a different feel, and we just got to come ready to play. And I think if we do, good things could happen.
So, Coach, what were your thoughts walking off the field last year in the national championship game, having just dropped that one goal loss to Onondaga? What were you thinking coming off the field?
I was still very proud of the way we played. I thought nobody really gave us a chance, and it was our first time ever even being in the Final Four. So I thought the way we played, you could tell it was evident that we really bought into each other and wanted to win. And it's just the way games like that go. It's a mistake here or there that we made that cost us that game. You know, it could have been going the other way. And I thought in games like that, it's just those little mistakes that you try to harp on those guys to not make that could lose those games. So you gotta learn from them, and hopefully this year the guys that are returning, we don't have that feeling again. So,
Coach, with the loss to Genesee up in Genesee this season, that was definitely something that took me by surprise. Yeah. And it was something you didn't see coming based on, how the progress the team made at the end of last year. You didn't see a game like that coming. What do you think now that we're a couple weeks away? What'd you learn from that game?
Oh, we learned a lot. It being a 1-goal game in the third quarter and then losing by 10, it was just the only way we really could look at that is learn from those mistakes and realize that once a team goes up on you 4 goals, it looked like we kind of just collapsed, and it really helps us to, in a game like that, to learn how to come together more and to fight adversity and to get over those kind of things. So it was at that point in the season. It sucks to lose, but I think we really handled it well and learned from it and realized it was kind of a reality check for us to get our stuff going and to practice a little harder and to realize just because we may have been ranked higher than them, that if we don't come out and play our game, that anything can happen. So I definitely didn't think it was going to be that big of a loss, and I expected to win that game, obviously. But we still had a lot of good things come out of that game, and whether it was positive and negative. So,
Coach, one thing, I hate to always be talking about this, but it seems like with this team just suffering a lot of penalties and really, it seems like I know it's not 100% in your control, sure. And these are the referees. They're different every game. It's not the same group of referees, but it just seems like an ongoing thing where it doesn't go your way. So what do you think can be done between now and Saturday to maybe do something about just giving yourself the best chance to win with keeping in mind that the penalty box situation?
Well, we got to realize that penalties are going to definitely happen, and it's just part of the game. We just got to try to minimize them. And we got to kind of feel out how the refs are calling the game. And, today there was a couple of calls that I think for both teams that could have either been called one way or the other. And we just got to learn as a coaching staff and as a team to not really let those emotions get to us too much and try to control what we can try to control what we can control. And that kind of stuff's really out of our hands, and it's easier said than done, obviously. But we just got to try to not let the emotions get to us.
So, how do you think the team did today with the whole emotional element of the game? It definitely seemed like it was a very highly intense game. It's an NJCAA quarterfinal.
I thought the guys were ready to go. They were calm, cool, collected, but not too much. And I think we were just we were kind of just harped on them to be confident and not cocky. Just be confident in what you're doing, and just realize that if we don't come out firing and come out fast paced and smart, that this game could have gone one way or the other. And the way that the first half, we played really well in the first half. I thought a little bit shaky in the second half. We were man down a lot. I think we were down 3 men at one point, which is stuff that we gotta fix come time for the big game against Onondaga. But just learn to minimize those and play through it. So.
I know you're a New York native. Just going home and getting to compete for it all in your home state. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. It's cool to go back up there and to have a lot of family and friends come up to the game like they did last year. I think I'll have some friends and family coming up to get this one too. But it's a lot of fun because I had a lot of friends that played there, and growing up in that area, it was always Onondaga is the junior college team to beat, and now that I get to go up there and play them, it's a lot of fun. It's really cool.
So knowing players that have, played for Onondaga, what do you think makes Onondaga so consistently special where they're just year in, year out, they're the favorite and they're, won so many championships? What do you think? Why do you think that is?
Well, it has everything to do with the way that NJCAA is. It's just like us down here in Maryland. Once a team starts winning, that's where players want to go when you're only there for 2 years. So when Coach Wilbur got there and turned the program around, that's where a lot of New Yorkers wanted to go, and that's where a lot of Long Island. They get a lot of guys from Canada to go to play them, and they're very well coached and they're just very good. So that's what makes them so good. They play well together and they're very talented. So we just got to be ready to go, and I think that's what makes them a good team.